Hey everyone, how are you guys doing? All right, so it's one of those days and I got a little time on my hands. So today I want to focus on sabotaging a relationship. This is something I talked about before. And so like I said, I got a little time, and so I want to talk to you guys about sabotaging the relationship. Okay, what is sabotaging? Sabotage, of course, we already know it's a behavior. Well, I shouldn't say everyone knows, right? But it's a behavior. And the behavior is based off of, in your brain, it's a memory. That a memory has an experience. And so a behavior that has an experience and that act. So there's a behavior. That behavior is defined by something in the past that brought to the present, and then the act out or acting out of that behavior. So I know it's kind of hard to talk about it, so let's talk about it. Let me give you an example of a sabotage. Back in 2010, I was getting a divorce with my two daughters' mother, and after a while, deciding to stay here in Wisconsin, I decided to start dating. Okay. So I met this one lady and everything was fine. We were doing everything, as normal, see each other here and there, going out here and there. And then it got to a point where I started a business and that business went out, and I had a meeting that I couldn't, I just had a meeting. I just went and did the meeting. We wasn't married, we wasn't engaged, we were just dating. And I just went to a meeting like I normally would do. Well, she would then say, well, you were cheating on me, or you were lying on me, or you didn't tell me what you were doing, so I don't trust you. In context, what does that mean? If she says, I knew that this was going to happen, well, think about it. Really think about it. If you have a trust issue, it can be disguised as a sabotaging issue. So in other words, what do I mean? If you do something and I say, well, I don't trust you, I think you did this. Well, where's the evidence of you doing that? If there's no evidence of that you doing that, then why am I saying I can't trust you? That is the sabotaging part. And so in context, a lot of relationships honestly sabotage themselves. You can meet someone and the old saying, it's too good to be true. And a lot of relationships, you have to be aware and watch them. If it's too good to be true short term, give them a little time. The truth will come out. But if they truly are someone that you think is a good person, if you find yourself of saying, I just don't trust you, or you're blaming them, or you're trying to make it something that is really not there, then you're really sabotaging the relationship. Especially if they can excuse or explain, and it's really not out the ordinary. For example, like I just said, if I went to a meeting and you say, well, I can't trust you. Well, why can't you trust me? I'm doing my work. That act, that behavior is the sabotage. The behavior is disguised a lot of times by saying, I've been hurt by someone else and I just have a trust issue. Okay, fine. But in context, do you really have a trust issue, or do you have a sabotaging issue? A trust issue, by definition, would simply say, please communicate with me because I can't see it. I want to be assured that you're doing what you're saying you're doing, because we just met, and communication a lot of times will fix a trust issue. Communication will fix it. Hey, what happened? I went to this job. This is what I had did. Okay, all right, fine. Could you help me, communicate with me a little bit more? Yeah, I can do that, especially if the person cares for you. They would honor the request of communicating. Which brings to a point. Communicating could fix trust issues. Communication can fix sabotaging issues. If I communicate and says I'm going to this meeting, and in this meeting I have to have my phone off because I don't want to disturb the meeting, the person might say, well, I tried to call you, I tried to do this, and you're cheating on me, you're doing this to me. You see how that rhythm, that behavior is. It's all about what you're doing against me. And even though you can explain it, hey, I was just at a job, or hey, I went to the grocery store, or hey, I just was on the phone talking to my girlfriend. Right, ladies? You're talking to your girlfriend and a guy calls you up and he's calling and says, well, I don't trust you. Well, dude, you're just trying to sabotage the relationship. Okay, so hopefully you can understand the defining of the behavior. Communication cannot fix a behavior. Communication can fix a lot of times, not all the times, a lot of times a communication can fix the trust issue, but it cannot fix a behavior issue. If you feel like there's nothing you can do that's right in a relationship and you're still stuck in the relationship, you're stuck in it because of the behavior that the person is applying to you. Okay. Now, again, I'm not talking about the traumas and abusing. We'll just talk about that another day. It's just a behavior. I went out with my girlfriends and this guy is bugging me. Or I went out with my guys and she's blaming me. That's a behavior issue. Okay, now if you understand the behavior, it's a behavior versus the actual trusting issue. And communication is just not fixing it. I mean, it's just no matter what you say, communication is just not fixing it. They're always blaming you for something. You have to realize, one, it's a behavior and they're just acting out that behavior. What do you do with that information? What do you do? Well, may I suggest, one, communicate. Say, hey, let's sit down and let's look up what sabotaging relationship by definition is. Let's look at some videos of what it could be. And let's compare it to what we see and what is the relationship is. And if they don't want to do that, or even if they do want to do that, and it's found out that they're sabotaging, if the behavior is not corrected, then what do you want to do? You're just going to have to work it out or allow it not to be there. So Sandra says, if there's no trust, then you have nothing but chaos. That is true, Sandra. That is true. So what I mean by that is this. Okay, so let me try to address the trust a little bit more. Okay. Person A, I don't know what the hell. Person A and person B. Okay. Person B has been in a bad relationship. So let's put person B. Bad relationship. Person A met person B and they're going off to do a work. There's a issue with trust because of the history. Person A comes back and says, hey, how you doing? Person B says, what are you doing? Now the question, what are you doing? What have you done? Something's wrong. Well, okay, I've been here. Correct, and that's where I'm getting to. Correct. So if person A says, I was at my job, or I went to the store and they come back with groceries, person B was simply that trust issue that from the history, person B will then eventually in time start trusting them. Okay, that's trust. If person A says, I went to the grocery store, and they come back with no groceries, person B has a very legit reason not to trust that person A. Does that make sense? Okay. Here's sabotage. Person A goes to the grocery store, comes back with groceries for the week. Person B says, where were you? Well, I've been at the grocery store. You're cheating on me. You're lying on me. You're lying because why didn't you communicate? Why didn't you tell me you went there? You're cheating on me. Where did the cheating come from? The lying. Where did the lying come from? By definition, lying, right? Did he say he was going somewhere and somewhere else, but decided to be? There's no lying. He went to the grocery store. He came back with groceries. So sabotaging is blaming, putting a behavior of blame in a lot of cases on the person with no just cause. Okay? All right, they ate the Twinkie on the way home. All right, cool. Well, even if they ate the Twinkie, they still got a receipt. And they threw away the receipt. Oh. Which, to my point, and to your point also, Sandra, if A went to the grocery store and ate the Twinkie on their way home, and B says, where have you been? And A says, I went to the grocery store, but no receipt, no food, no nothing, then there's a trust issue there. A has a responsibility, if they care for the relationship, to start proving themselves because of the issue. But it's a trust issue. It's, where have you been? I don't believe you. Okay? Versus, where have you been? You're lying to me. Why are you cheating on me? Why are you doing this to me? That's a sabotage. All right? So it's a fine tune to understand sabotaging versus getting over a relationship. So by definition, how do we distinguish the two? A lot of times, for me, it's time. Hey, how long have you and this guy or girl been talking? Oh, we only been talking for a week. Let's deal with the trust issues. Hey, how long you and this person been talking? Say about 3 weeks or 4 weeks or a month, maybe a month and a half. You might have a sabotaging issue. It doesn't take a month, 2 months to figure out that you trust a person. But in 2 months, if you're still dealing with trust issues, really it's a sabotaging position. Okay? So I hope this brings a little understanding. Now, again, what happens if you're in a relationship and... Sorry about that. What happens if you're in a relationship and you find that the person is really sabotaging a relationship? Again, communicate it, educate it, communicate, educate. But don't stay in it, because then you might be developing another issue, which is a codependency issue, thinking you can fix them. It's a behavior issue. That behavior is based off of a trauma or something else. But if you stay to try to fix them, then you become a codependent. So, recognize time. If you're having trust issues, it's a short of a period of time. Is it a sabotage? More likely it's a longer time, 2-3 months, and so on. But then if you find it, ask yourself, am I codependent to this sabotaging person? This is one of the reasons why relationships don't make it, because they force it. If they're sabotaging you, let it go. Just let it go. Stop and be at peace. If it's a trust issue because you just met them, look, if you care for them, deal with it. Prove your worthiness. There's nothing wrong with proving your worthiness, especially in a short period of time. A month beyond, sabotage. Month, days, trust. Just use that as a guideline. Leave if they're sabotaging or in fear of a codependent issue, which you then will be the codependent, which you won't fix the behavior, that's just going to be a very toxic relationship, because at the end of the day, stress builds up, and then drugs and alcohol is introduced to cover up the stresses, abuse, physical, mental, and so on and so forth. So be mindful of sabotage and how dangerous it could get. But if you have any questions, comments, and concerns, Sandra, and thank you very much for your comments. I appreciate you. But if you do have any more comments, concerns, please let me know. If you're in a relationship, how to get out of relationships safely, codependency. Well, I guess we'll talk about codependency shortly, because it is disguised as caring. Not to laugh because it is serious, but it just amazes me. But that's just me. Anyway, have a great day. It's a civil day. Go do what you do. If you do, hey, free will, right? All right. Talk to you guys later. Have a great one. Bye bye.